Greetings, good evening, and all that other wonderful stuff. I want to start off before I get into another News of the Day video, because there's some news that's come out that I'm like, yeah, I'll do a news video tonight, and then we'll see tomorrow morning what I'm going to do then. So West Coast kids, today we got in the mail, because mail actually happened today. The mail has been very slow, and honestly, this is for people in Canada. If you're thinking about when to send your Christmas packages in this country, do it as soon as possible, because the mail is slow. I know this from all the packages I've been waiting for weeks. Yvonne's been waiting for packages, so yeah. We got today from West Coast Kids this card along with some T-shirts as well, in accordance with us helping them out with charity. And so it does feel good to know at this time of year, during a year where so many people have been out of work or they've been negatively impacted by this overall pandemic and just the economic downturn, that you can help. You can help a little bit and give back where need be. So I'll include a link to their website in the description to this video when it goes live, and check it out. And you can give whatever or however much, however little, it doesn't matter. All of it adds up, and all of it means something. And they seem to be very excited at the fact that they can help as many families out as they can. So yeah. There you go. There's my plug. I was actually going to set it up where I could have like a fundraiser on the channel. They have set up something on YouTube now where you can do like a donation thing, but it has to be an American setup thing. And so since they're set up through Canada, I can't actually start a fundraiser through them through YouTube, through an easy YouTube interface, which I found disappointing. I thought, I know YouTube's based out of the States. I know that's where it's based, but it would be nice if the charity thing was global and you could have the charity hooked up for your own country rather than just in the States. Not that there aren't some great American charities, it would be nice if I was able to connect the West Coast kids in a little bit easier, more organic way. But let's get into the news of the day, shall we? Jake DeBrusk, who was an RFA, and had been sitting around, and there have been rumors about whether or not Boston was going to trade him. I don't think that him signing a contract necessarily means he doesn't get traded. I don't. But 2 years, $7.35 million, so a cap hit of $3.675 million. That's something that some teams could stomach if the Bruins were offering him up for, say, a defenseman and trying to fix things, because I think the Boston blue line is in need of some help. And there's no guarantee that help is coming from within. There are a couple of guys who may very well end up being in that mix, whether it's Vakanainen, whether Lauzon takes that next step, or maybe he's Borrell. But one guy that they're still waiting on to make a decision as well is Zdeno Chara. Zdeno Chara is waiting to see what the NHL is going to do. So once he has seen the plan for the return to play, he will decide whether or not he wants to return and continue his career in the National Hockey League. So there's a lot of things right now that are waiting for the return. A lot of the free agents that are unsigned, there's a belief that that's waiting for the return to be announced as well. Although I kind of call BS on that, because I remember reading headlines that said that basically we would see other free agents get signed once we got through arbitration the first week of November. We got through arbitration. It's now past the third week of November. We have still seen very little in the way of free agent signings. So grain of salt on all of that. We'll see whether or not that's actually the case, or if we're going to see some relatively big names still without contracts as we start the season, which, considering the economic downturn, wouldn't be a complete and total surprise. Not really. So, yeah, we'll see what Chara decides. And again, it'll be when the NHL announces what's going to happen, which we didn't get today. I wanted to touch on charity work that Buffalo's been doing. Buffalo's ownership takes a lot of flack, right? Buffalo as an organization takes a lot of slings and arrows from fans around the league, even from their own, right? Some of it's justified, but the Buffalo Sabres have helped 8 Days of Hope deliver to hundreds of families for Thanksgiving, making sure that families are able to get meals. So again, it's that time of year where, if you're a big corporation, you're able to give back. It's a good idea to do it. And I think this year more than ever, it's important to see that. So the Buffalo Sabres have been helping out in their community, and 8 Days of Hope had numerous tweets regarding this and regarding what the Buffalo Sabres have been doing for them. And so clearly, this is a big help locally, And that's something that I've noticed with the NHL over the years, that organizations and individual players are usually pretty good about charitable donations and giving back to their community. So it's kind of a nice thing about hockey in general. And I know there's other sports that do it as well, but just it's something that I've noticed with hockey that's kind of a nice thing. Now, also speaking of nice things, Jack Eichel thinks that management made some very good moves. He's actually excited for this season to get going and for the new teammates that he's got to get them together, and the experience on the roster and the talent that's been added. He's very excited to see how this is going to work. I would think he's thrilled with the addition of Hall on his line, in all likelihood anyways, and Eric Stahl on that second line. Just the idea of having them all together. And if Hall has chemistry with Eichel, which he should, and if Skinner can recreate his chemistry with Stahl, you can have two very good scoring lines for Buffalo. Now, whether or not you can get to three is the question, but you can at the very least have two very good scoring lines, and that's a pretty solid start for a Buffalo team that needs that. And they need to be able to finish. They've had the solid start in the regular season the last 2 years. They need to be able to finish it too. So things look pretty good for Buffalo. Carolina made me laugh today, so I had to put this on the board, that they tweeted out that they are yet undefeated this season. And that's saying something. It's just late November, and they haven't suffered a loss yet. Of course, they're being facetious, but I thought it was kind of funny, so I thought I'd throw that on the board. And again, when you're looking for the NHL and what the NHL's plan is, and when you see that teams are still very active on social media and teams are still, doing as much promotion as possible, they want to salvage a season. They need to salvage the season. I know numbers are scary and there's all this talk of shutdowns and lockdowns and this and that. But in general, organizations are being allowed to still exist during this time. It's just you can't have fans in attendance in a lot of places right now. But I think there's a way to make this work. So, again, I'm still being optimistic about this until we actually hear, nope, it's not going to happen. Minnesota. Minnesota is still not, according to Bill Guerin, they are not trying to trade Matt Dumba. So while he's still getting asked, he's still saying no, Dumba's not on the market. And as I said in yesterday's expansion video, I could see them protecting 4 defensemen and 4 forwards, or talking Ryan Suter into waiving his no movement clause so they can protect 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and you're not worried about losing Suter. It's the same as the video I did today where I said if Montreal doesn't protect Shea Weber, they're not going to worry about Shea Weber being picked by Seattle. That contract is cumbersome. So cumbersome contracts I think are very unattractive, and if Minnesota can figure out a way to make that work, that's fine. But he's basically saying we don't need to make a move right now. We don't need to panic right now. So why would we panic right now? And he's not wrong. Also, Minnesota will be announcing a captain before the season starts. And there are rumors, if you saw the listing, that Dylan Larkin's going to be the captain for the Red Wings, and it was spoiled by a listing online. They showed a brand new Detroit jersey, and you saw Larkin on the back and a C on the front. So that may very well have been a spoiler. I didn't put it in a news video until now because to me it's kind of speculative, so I'll mention that here where I'm talking about Minnesota's captain. I'm not going to put it in the title of the video or anything, but it'd make some sense if Larkin was the captain. It makes some sense if he already knows, and if they're waiting until the season's getting ready to get started before making that official announcement. So we'll see how things go for Minnesota, but Bill Guerin seems to be pretty happy with the way things have gone in the offseason, and now it's a matter of putting it all together on the ice. Jesperi Kotkaniemi's time in Liga is over. He should be coming back to North America. That time in Liga ended today. So he's expected to come over to Canada, quarantine 14 days, and then end up on the ice getting ready for the season with Montreal. And there's a lot of players who are going to be doing this. We're going to see a lot of players coming into Canada for quarantine purposes, going into the States, going out on the ice, getting ready to start playing hockey. And I really think, again, I keep saying this in videos, if we weren't going to have a season, we wouldn't be seeing this going on. There'd be some indication that we're probably not going to see a season happening. Not that there aren't some owners who are not going to want a season with the amount of money they're going to lose, which is a lot. But that's where we're at. Nick Kypreos also reported this morning, actually. It would have been in the news I did earlier today if I had seen it, but I didn't. That there was no contact between the players and the league over the weekend, which is a first. But you know what? With where it ended on Friday, it'd make sense for them to take a couple days, step back, and think about it. And the only advice that I would give right now to players is, so if you get involved in this matchup with the owners and you decide you're not going to let them prorate anything and you're not going to let them take any more money now, do you lose more later? So if we don't have a season this year and there's no revenues, how messed up does next season get? Like, how much more money then do owners look to claw back next season? Because again, I've seen a lot of posts like, "Oh, we'll just come back next year. We'll just come back like everything's normal next year." Much like during the spring, everybody said, "Why are we trying to have playoffs and award a Stanley Cup? Let's just cancel it and come back as normal in October." And then things weren't normal in October, right? So I think the idea of, well, we'll just wait, just delay it till next year, it's short-sighted, and you end up losing a lot of money. You lose all of it. So then trying to figure out how a salary cap would work where the NHL lost all of its money and there's still costs for owners going on right now, it doesn't get easier. So either you sit down and you work it out now between the players and the NHLPA, or things get worse. One thing that I'm considering doing as well, and I'll probably try to get this figured out over the next couple of weeks, is that while we have this debate about owners and players and all this, I think it would be good if I was able to, whether it was through interview or just through an email, get an idea from owners on their day-to-day. An idea from owners as well on costs that fans don't think about, because we don't. We just see it as they write the checks and shut up. And that's not really how this works. So I think it would be good if I was able to get a sense of how the owners have this complicated relationship, both with players, with fans, with the facilities, with everything else. And trying to keep everybody happy has to be a complete and total nightmare. So I think it would be interesting to have that chat and to be able to discuss the day-to-days and all that. And the stuff that maybe we don't hear about in the media, and the stuff that, you know, might come up during a season that might cost them a ton of money and we don't really think about. So anyways, again, that's where I'd go with that. And again, it's not to create sympathy, but just to show that this is a very complex thing. Trying to have this league come back and have it in a situation where both the players and the owners are able to have some idea of how they can make money and make this work, it is tricky. It is a very complicated situation. So I would love to do like an in-depth look, even though, you know, I don't know how much interest there'd be in that, but I think it'd be great to do an in-depth look at that. And that would be kind of one of those timeless evergreen kind of videos, because it's not like that stuff would change. It's not like an owner 10 years from now go, well, I don't have to worry about any of that now. I just sign paychecks. There's always a lot more to it. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.